Hello. Hello, hello. Sure. Hopefully you can hear me. We're waiting for a press conference with Governor Mills. Oh, sorry, you need me to talk for a little bit? Can you hear me? Okay.
Good. Get indoors so we can see her coming in. Get a nice view of the folding tables in the back.
Good morning, I'm Brian Iacono. We are interrupting your regular programming for some breaking news this morning. Governor Janet Mills holding a news conference in Portland City Hall right now. It comes amid that surge of immigration operations. She just approached the podium. We'll take that live.
And organizations to let us know what they're seeing and hearing regarding the ICE presence in Maine. Any questions?
What do you know?
What do I know? I thought you would. Look, we know anecdotally that there have been arrests of people with criminal convictions, but also this target of 1,400 people seems pretty broad. And we're hearing that there's a lot of fear within the schools, within the employment community, among businesses who are losing employees, who have either been detained or not showing up. Some of them actually detained, and businesses are very worried about being able to carry on. All kinds of businesses who rely on employees who are here legally, lawfully, and who have a good work ethic and good work record with these employers.
Governor, has there been any communication at any level with the administration about what their plans are, what their tactics are, anything?
No, only what I read in the newspaper as you did, in the news, that there's this target of 1,400 people. But I'm hearing that many of the people who are being detained or on that list, I think, are family members here in Maine, people who are working here in Maine, people who have children in the school system, people who have children in homes in Maine, and people with no criminal record. And that's concerning. It's obviously very disruptive to a child's life, disruptive to a business, disruptive to a school, to a city and town, and tends to engender a lot of fear and anxiety, naturally, on the part of these families and these communities. And think what it does to the children, to think of their parent being hauled away, a parent with no criminal activity, no criminal charges, no criminal record, being hauled away in their presence and not being told, when is mom or dad coming home? Where do I go next? Who do I turn to? It's pretty tough.
Are you trying to find out?
Pardon me?
Are you trying to find out the numbers in real time? Is that something you'd like to know in terms of
Sure.
how they're getting into this apparent target?
We'd love to know the numbers in real time, unless you follow them around, which I'm not going to do. It'd be hard to determine that. We do hear a lot of anecdotal reports, and trying to keep track of those. And the police departments and the mayors of the two major cities are getting those reports as well. And people are freely using their cell phones, which is their absolute right, to record incidents that they see, as long as they don't interfere or obstruct. They're taking those events down and making a record of the events. So.
Do you know when it would end?
What? Sorry.
Can you tell us what you know about crime rates among undocumented immigrants? I mean,
Crime rate.
we either get the worst of the worst. Like, what do we know about crime in Maine? And
Well, look, what do I know about crime in Maine? Let me go back a few years. No, I mean, I was the elected district attorney for 3 counties in western Maine. Before that, I prosecuted homicides for 4 years. I know a little bit about criminal enterprises in Maine, and I was the attorney general of Maine for 8 years and the chief law enforcement officer. And we take crime very seriously, although we're proud of the fact that we have one of the lowest crime rates in the country, certainly one of the lowest violent crime rates in the country. We vie with Vermont generally. But listen, every crime is a serious crime in our books, and we take allegations of criminal activity seriously, no matter who the person is. And I don't sense that there's any greater, certainly not a greater incidence of crime among non-citizens than there is among citizens. In fact, I think probably the opposite. But that's not what we're hearing about. We're hearing about perhaps a handful of people with criminal convictions who I don't know what their status is. But what I've asked for, if they have warrants, show the warrants. In my experience, you've got to get a judicial warrant to arrest somebody, and it's not automatic. And if they have warrants to come here and arrest people, then that should be public record. You know, in America, we don't believe in secret arrests or secret police. God, that goes back to the Magna Carta, doesn't it? I mean, it's one of the foundations of our country and our Constitution. I was going to say, having worked in and around and with law enforcement for these many years, and having taught at the Academy, the Criminal Justice Academy, I know that our law enforcement here in Maine are subject to high training qualifications, substantial qualifications, professional training, that they're subject to high expectations on their standards of performance. I'll tell you, they don't wear masks to hide their identity. They don't need to wear masks. They don't need to hide their identity. And they don't go out and set numbers and goals and quotas and detain people subject to some quota, wherever that may come from. That's not very professional under our standards. Yes?
This time last year was when you told the president you would see him in court. Obviously that has happened and it was over a different issue, but do you think there is a target on the state of Maine's back because of those actions?
I should hope not. That'd be kind of silly.
Well, why, in your opinion?
I mean, we fought the issue in court, excuse me, but I said we'd see him in court. We did see him in court a few weeks later, and we won on that issue, so.
But Governor, why, in your opinion, is your state now in the bullseye?
Well, he's gone to a lot of blue states, hasn't he? He went to Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, all Democratic governors. I happen to be a Democratic governor. Ostensibly, they're coming here, they say, because of an immigrant population that they find in disfavor. So I don't know. You'll have to ask them why they're here.
Do you believe that there are 1,400 people living in Maine illegally with criminal backgrounds?
With criminal backgrounds? Well, let's see the documents. I'd be shocked if they found 1,400 people with criminal charges against them. But what we're hearing is not that anyway. What we're hearing is that people with no criminal backgrounds are being detained and subject to perhaps deportation or at least arrest. People who are being torn from their families and from young children. People who are part of the workforce here in Maine, a workforce that we desperately need and desperately value. And that's a shame, you know? It's disruptive, and it's causing a lot of fear and unnecessary anxiety in the community and among families who don't deserve this kind of treatment.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the impact that you're hearing from the schools?
Well, only second, I haven't personally talked to the superintendents, but they're very much on alert. Because schools in Portland and Lewiston in particular have a fairly high number of children of immigrant families. And so we hear that some of those children aren't going to school because they're concerned if they come home and their parent isn't there, or the parent isn't there to take them to school in the first place. And they're concerned about some, at least in theory, an approach to the school that would be very unwelcome.
We've heard about what you've said to the president in the past. What's your message to the president now?
I don't have a message for the president today.
Last week you said the administration was not returning any phone calls from your administration about all of this. Is that still the case?
That is still the case.
What do you make of the memo that was sent out that's allowing federal agents to go into homes without a warrant?
That's a memo that was, I don't know that the actual memo was released, but there were whistleblowers who discussed such a memo with Senator Blumenthal, I think. And it's very disturbing news, assuming it's true. Look, the Fourth Amendment is the basic premise of our Bill of Rights. For God's sakes, its words couldn't be plainer. But you've got to have a judicial warrant before you enter somebody's home.
Does that bill become law to restrict what Maine law enforcement could do in terms of cooperating with federal immigration agents? Can you clarify, even though that law is not in effect yet, can you clarify what's actually going on between the Maine State Police and the federal agents or other Maine entities, if you know?
First of all, no law enforcement officer in Maine is prohibited from coordinating and collaborating on a criminal investigation, criminal activity in Maine, with collaborating with federal investigators. But I think the law says if it's purely for immigration enforcement, our law enforcement aren't there to enforce federal laws or immigration laws, period.
So they're already abiding by that law. Maine State Police have instructed.
The state police, as my understanding, are, and many other departments, I think, are as well. Look, they've seen what happens what has happened in other states. You saw one or two of the police chiefs in Minnesota who said that their off-duty police officers were being detained by ICE. Police officers with no criminal record, no violations of law. I mean, that's a little extreme.
Yesterday, DHS put out this list of, or the 4 pictures of the 4 people they called the worst of the worst. And 3 of them had been previously convicted of whatever their infractions were. And yeah, they were felonies. As a former prosecutor, your reaction to, I mean, these cases were already adjudicated.
Well, I'm not sure, had they done their time? Had they been convicted somewhere and served their time? It would be good to know. They weren't here as fugitives, were they? It would be good to know.
That gets to my question. I mean, when they call them the worst of the worst, if someone has already done their time, then what's the case for
Excuse me. Look, if somebody has evidence of criminal activity, we want to hear about it. But that's not what we're hearing about. For the most part, we're hearing about people who have not been engaged in criminal activity, who are being torn from their families, from their schools, from their businesses, and who are in fear, and their families and their communities are in fear. And that's just not wrong. That's not right.
And
Last one,
what-
when would you like to see it end? I guess when would you
What?
like,
Sorry?
when would you like to see the operation end? I know they have this so-called target, but are you hoping to see it end?
You know, I'd be curious to know more about their so-called target. Why Maine? Why now? What were the orders that came from above? Who's giving the orders? Pardon me?
Are you reaching out to like hourly or day by day to try to get this info, or is it like a hopeless effort at this point in your mind?
I think, you know, we've reached out, we've asked questions, we have no answers.
A lot of people are concerned that Maine will turn into Minnesota with all the protests. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we've been really, really clear, not just us as a state government, but, you know, the churches in the area, the ACLU, ILAP, other interested entities have been very clear that there will be protests, but that they fully intend that the protests, when and if they occur, will be peaceful. The intent is not to obstruct or agitate or interfere, but to document, to record, and to exercise people's First Amendment rights, which we fully support.
And what do you make of one of the worst of the 4 photos that were listed yesterday from DHS being an OUI?
Mark, how many OUIs do we have in this state a year? Like 5,000, 10,000? I don't know.
I don't think that's an exaggeration.
That's a pretty common misdemeanor offense. Just so.
Governor,
Yes.
do you have any information at all about where detainees are being taken or where they're being
No.
held?
I don't think we have specific information about where any particular detainees are being held.
And about the process for them going forward?
No, I will say, look, I think the Supreme Court has said people who are detained because of immigration status, because they're not full citizens, they have a right to a hearing, they have a right to a bond, And we fully expect that those rights will be adhered to.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You've been watching Governor Janet Mills speaking live from Portland this morning, taking questions from the media about ICE operations in our state over the last few days. No big surprising developments on her position on this campaign, but saying she feels the targeting of 1,400 people in Maine feels broad. She's very concerned about the impact of all this on our businesses, schools, and children who are seeing their parents taken away by these officers. And she also says, as far as her knowledge goes, the majority of people already taken into custody do not have criminal records. She is asking that these officers show the warrants that we are told they have to be coming here, again, with those 1,400 people on that list. Phil Hirschkorn was also in the room today. We will be hearing from him with our complete team coverage of ICE presence here in Maine coming up on News Center Maine at noon. We'll see you then.